Yo, what is up, everybody? So, the channel's been out for almost a year now. This channel just turned a year old. That's crazy for me to believe myself, but like, I'm sorry, that's just crazy. And we also hit 1,000 subscribers, so I just want to thank everybody just real quickly before we get this started. So, thank you guys so much for all subscribing. But now that my channel's a year old and we hit 1,000 subscribers, I thought we would redo my first my first full-length video that hit over 100 views, which was my ranking of all the Fnaf games. Because I recently watched it, and wow, my opinions have changed. Something else I noticed about that was the fact that 90% of my rankings was based on nostalgia, and I've recently gone back and played all of the games in the past like 6 months. So I know what they are like to just play without nostalgia. So I thought, let's redo the ranking. Something that we're also changing here is I'm also just adding the FNAF movie onto here. I thought it would just fit, but this ranking will also be interesting because since that I made that video, since we're filming the FNAF movie, we had 3 new things be added. So let's just get into it. So we're gonna be ranking these based on how scary, annoying, or just straight up fun they were. So we're just gonna be completely disregarding nostalgia. Nostalgia is not gonna be part of this. This is gonna be if you've never played FNAF before and you're just trying it out, what would be your favorite game? So yeah, let's get into it. So number 12, my least favorite FNAF game to play was definitely UCN. The game, it's boring, it's confusing. There 50-20 mode it gives me more stress than studying for finals exams, which I didn't know was possible. Like UCN, it's just not good. Like maybe if you're good at it and you can get 50-20 mode done, I guess I can see it being good. But I mean, I just don't see it. Honestly, I've never been a huge fan of UCN, even like when it was new. I've just never been a huge fan of it. And I always come back and replay it every once in a while, but I've just never liked it. Never. Ever. So, yeah, it definitely gets boring very quickly if you don't know what to do. And it's also gets 90% of the characters are just really annoying. Like Funtime Foxy is the bane of my existence. So, yeah. Number 11, I gotta give this to Pizzeria Simulator. I know there are a lot of people who absolutely love Pizzeria Simulator. I get that. I mean, I wouldn't say a lot of you guys, but there's definitely people who like Pizzeria Simulator. My problem with it is, in each of the other FNAF games, it kind of explains to you what you need to do. This game, it's so confusing. It does not tell you what to do. It says, if there's an animatronic in the vent right next to you, shine the light, and you shine the light at it, and then you look away, and then you get killed because you're not shining the light at it. So it's very confusing. The jump scares are very boring, I'll be honest with you. They kind of just look at you, and don't get me wrong, they still seem to get me, but the jump scares are definitely not amazing. I also just didn't have very much fun on this game, but yeah, there's a lot of lore that's like very confusing to get in this game, but yeah, so that's why I put that there. So now going into number 10, Security Breach. Not surprising anybody. I did put this game at last place last year, but it's definitely not as bad as being last place. It does not run well on like any platform. I'm pretty sure PC doesn't even run it very well. Even the new gen consoles, I'm barely running at 15 FPS on it. So that's definitely a problem they have. They've let that ship sail, but it's also just like not very scary. There are definitely a few parts where where it gets a little intense, like kind of like the underground part with Chica. That part gets a little creepy. Nothing too crazy, but it definitely gets a little bit creepy. There are tons of very annoying segments in this game, like the endos, the DJ Music Man. Honestly, unpopular opinion, I thought Fazer Blast was really annoying more than fun. Don't get me wrong, it definitely was fun, but it was also just extremely annoying. But yeah, not scary in the slightest. And another problem I had is it was very confusing on where to go. It's an open world game, but it doesn't tell you like where you need to go properly. It just says go here, and then you're just like wondering where that is, and you get lost. So, yeah, I don't know. Definitely not a horrible FNAF game. It's very overhated still, but it is definitely not #1 here. But yeah. So number 9 is definitely gonna go to FNAF 3. The jump scares, once you see them like twice, aren't scary at all. Springtrap's jump scare is really mid. The mini games were definitely fun, but the game, majority of the game was very easy. You could probably like breeze through it pretty quickly. Although I will give it credit that the aggressive nightmare mode, that was really hard. I will give that credit. That was really hard. So besides some of those parts, it's very easy. A lot of lore explained in it, which I liked, and getting the good ending was pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie. The only annoying part I had was getting past the nights after that. Those are my only annoying parts of getting the good ending. But yeah, there's not much more to say about this game. It's alright. Jump scares are not great, but yeah. Number 8 is going to be given to FNAF Ruin. This was definitely exactly what Security Breach should have been. Broken down pizzeria with broken down animatronics that are, for the most part, pretty creepy. I also do like how they don't just tell every exact part of the lore like they kind of with Security Breach. This is what happened, this is how it happened, yada yada yada. It was very confusing. Like we still don't know what's going on with, what's his name, Mixels, I think. We still don't know what's going on with him, but yeah, I liked this DLC. I know I didn't finish it on camera, but I did finish it off camera. It was good. I really liked it. Definitely major upgrade from Security Breach. Another thing I liked about it is it had one route that you needed to go. I mean, there were extra rooms, but like there was no like secret area that you could go and you couldn't get lost in it, which I really liked. I also really liked the Vanny mask. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, it was a little short in my opinion. I do wish it was a little bit longer. Yes, it is a DLC, not a full game, but I feel like they could have done it a little bit longer. It definitely had a very basic structure, which I definitely have very mixed opinions on. But yeah, it was like, it wasn't incredibly scary, but there were some parts that like made me jump. Like if you go back and watch some of my old episodes on it, they made me jump just a little bit. And so yeah, I think it fits perfectly around the middle area of 8. Alright, number 7 might get a little bit hate on it, but Help 1 and 2. Now, I might be a little bit wrong here, but this is also the only FNAF game I have not played yet because I don't have a VR, and I don't have a VR or a PS5. So this is the one FNAF game that I have not played. So I am mostly going off of gameplay, but from all the gameplay I've seen, it's definitely a pretty good game. It looks really fun, but I feel like the problem is it's more fun than scary. It doesn't seem to be a horror game. It seems to be more of a FNAF based fun kids game, which I'm seeing a lot with Steel Wool, but except for Ruin. But it definitely is nowhere near as good as the first Help wanted. But definitely, yeah, like I said, a lot more fun than scary. Not necessarily a bad thing either, because there are a lot of parts that I like, and there also are tons of scary parts in this game. It's very mixed, which I like. The sister location parts are pretty horrifying. I do wish that they had just done the actual sister location and hadn't like just done the individual levels like that. I wish they had literally made sister location VR like that little fan made game that they did a while back. But yeah. Alright, number 6 is definitely going to go to the FNAF movie. I'm going to be honest with you. FNAF movie was a masterpiece for its fans, but it definitely had some problems that made it on the lower list. The biggest problem I had was the very, very long build-up to actually get to where the animatronics are actually evil. I feel like it took way too long. If you check a timestamp, it's like the last 10 minutes of the movie. Like the last 15, 20 minutes of the movie. Which, don't get me wrong, that's not bad for an hour, 50-minute movie, but I feel like it definitely should have been like over half the movie. Another problem was there were way too many off-screen kills. I'm definitely not like a gore guy. I don't like watching people get ripped apart. But like I was like, dude, really? When I saw that, like we should have seen at least a little bit of it. Sure, yes, we saw Max get bitten in half, but like the fact that they like made Foxy running kind of off-screen too, I don't really like that either. But they definitely could have done a lot more, especially with the spring lock scene. Zero blood, I get that they were making it PG-13, but like, come on. There's some, I've seen some decently bloody PG-13 movies, and so I feel like they could have gotten away with it. But yeah, Night 5 definitely made up for the movie. It was just way too long. Definitely like one of my favorite like endings of a movie. It just took way too long to get to that point. In my opinion, especially with like all the fort building scenes. I know a lot of people didn't like that. I didn't mind it, but I know a lot of people did not like the fort buildings and stuff. But yeah, I feel like halfway seems like a very safe place to put it. All right, number 5 might get me hunted down, but it's gonna go to Fnaf 1. It's definitely a great game, absolutely amazing Fnaf game. We're at the point here where like, all these games are all amazing in their own ways. We just need to rank them better. So Fnaf 1 it's horrifying. If I picture myself playing for the first time, it's absolutely horrifying. But problem with it is most people like it because of the nostalgia they have with it. So when you go back and replay it, it's definitely fun, but it's like not as fun as it would be if you were playing it for the first time, like 2014. So that's my problem with it. It's horrifying, but it's basic as well, which definitely not necessarily a bad thing. Not necessarily a bad thing. Sitting in your office, it can be very stressful, especially when it gets to 20 mode. But I feel like 5 is a decent place to put it. All right, Helpful Wanted is going at number 4. Definitely one of the best. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was absolutely horrifying because it took the already horrifying 2D games and made them into full 3D VR. Like, please tell me something creepier than that. Playing in the FNAF 4 room in VR is one of the most traumatizing experiences of my little 12-year-old life. Right there when that game came out, like it was really cool to see us all translated into VR. It's horrifying. It's one of my opinions, one of the best VR adaptations of a game in like history. I know there's like a lot of good ones, but I think that one's probably my favorite. But yeah, horrifying, tons of levels, tons of Easter eggs, and tons of story with the glitch trap that I really like. I like that it still had the story and it wasn't just a VR adaptation, it actually had story. So yeah, but number 3 is another little controversial one. It's going to be put to FNAF 2. I know a lot of people put this at number 1. It's definitely an amazing FNAF game. Definitely one of my favorites. But I feel like how intense it is kind of clashes with how scary it is. I'm trying to find like the best way to explain this. Basically, it's scary towards the start, but when you get towards the end and you're mostly just stressed out, it's not that scary. It's more thrilling. It's more stressing. And that's my problem with it. Like 1020 mode, I've never been scared of 1020 mode. I've just been stressed out on it. And that's, in my opinion, kind of a problem with the game. But yeah, like I said, definitely a great game. Especially if you're not only focusing on those games for the horror, it's definitely a great game. But number 2 is going to Sister Location. I love Sister Location. Right? I know I ranked it kind of low last year, but I thought Sister Location, when I replayed it recently, was an absolute banger. All right, it actually has story structures. Like you don't have to like it actually has proper story. You don't have to like guess what's happening, so you kind of know what's happening. And you do more than just sitting stationary, and for people who like that, they still had that in the game during custom night and the secret ending, which I really like. The jump scares are absolutely horrifying. They still get me to this day, even after playing this game for like, when did it come out? 2016. So after playing this game for like what, 7 years now, 8 years now. Jeez. But it does a really good job about balancing the difficulty and keeping it a horror game, because there's some really easy nights, like night 3, and there's some really hard nights, there's some easy nights like night 3 and the normal ending of night 5, and there's some really hard nights like personally night 2 and night 4, and secret ending night 5, and so they do a really good job balancing it. It's like the perfect amount of balancing. It also has an extremely creepy atmosphere just in general. Looking at, the office or the breaker room, you just horrified of it instantly. And I feel like they did an amazing job of this game. The voice acting is absolutely phenomenal, and they did such a good job that they still got these actors doing games today. So yeah, definitely one of my all-time favorites. Alright, so now our number 1 is Fnaf 4. This game is an absolute banger, alright? I like Fnaf for horror. I know a lot of people like it for like the gameplay and the cool designs. I like it for the horror. So Fnaf 4 is absolutely amazing. It is so eerie. Incredibly eerie. And they just do a good job about kind of keeping you stressed, but keeping you horrified. Like, even when you're playing 420 mode, you're still horrified, but you're keeping that stress level up. And, just having to listen and getting the sense of denial that, like, you think you heard breathing, but you don't know if you heard breathing, and so you don't know if you want to flash the light or not, is really ingenious. It's a genius way to scare people. And I also love how they did the storytelling with the minigames in between. I guess that FNAF 3 did that, but these minigames made a lot more sense on what was going on. It also, showing what events led up to William Afton, becoming who we know as William Afton. And so it doesn't leave us like questioning what just happened like the third game, because like when we didn't know what the spring locks were in the third game, it was very confusing, but like we knew what happened in the fourth game after we learned what spring locks were, because spring locks failed and the kid got bit. Done. But I also love how there's so much theorizing still in it, even with it being that clear. I feel like they did an absolutely amazing job with this game, and I definitely want to see this structure of game revisited in the future, whether it be for like a FNAF Plus type thing, like a FNAF remastered for like the 10-year anniversary of it in 2025. I feel like that'd be really cool. And yeah, so that's my ranking of all the FNAF games in 2023. Thank you guys so much for watching. If they release more FNAF stuff next year, we will be doing this again. So yeah, I want to thank you guys all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Goodbye.